evening, everyone. I hope all of you are having a great day. Welcome to our webinar, Climate Change and Artificial Intelligence, Driving Sustainable Solutions for the Future, proudly presented by Qubits Learning in association with Athena Education as a part of the International Computing Olympiad. My name is Abhiraman Viswambharan, and I'm honored to be your host today. The International Computing Olympiad is more than just a competition. It is a global movement dedicated to fostering awareness, innovation, and action among young minds. Our mission is to inspire the youth to develop sustainable solutions, encouraging inventive and collaborative efforts for a greener future. As a part of this initiative, we are thrilled to welcome our esteemed panelists today, who will share the invaluable insights on this crucial topic. Let me begin by introducing our first eminent panelist, His Excellency Dr. Abdullah Belhaif Al Nuaimi. Dr. Abdullah is the former Minister of Climate Change and Environment UAE and also the former Minister of Infrastructure Development UAE. He is a senior fellow at the American University of Sharjah and a honorary professor at the Heriot-Watt University, Dubai. He has led the UAE Council for Climate Change and Environment, and the National Biosecurity Committee of the UAE. In 2024, Dr. Abdullah was honored with the Who is Who International Award in Greece, where he was recognized as the world's eminent man in education and sustainability. In 2023, he received the Cannes Al Jil Award from the Department of Culture and Tourism, Abu Dhabi. We warmly welcome you, Your Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Belhaif Al Nuaimi.
Very pleased to be with you, and thank you very much for the introduction.
Next on our panel, we are honored to introduce Ms. Mimi Jett, founder and chief executive officer of Diglosia, Abu Dhabi, UAE. Ms. Jett is a seasoned leader in education technology, bringing more than 35 years of experience to the field. She's the former vice president of business development at Avant Assessment and has served as a board member of the Software and Information Industry Association, SIA. At Diglosia, Ms. Jett leads the development of Arabic language assessment tools. Diglosia impacted over 100,000 students in partnership with UNICEF in Jordan. Diglosia expanded its operations to UAE from 2023. She was also a delegate to the White House Conference on Small Business, where she served as the Technology Advisory Committee Chair. We are honored to have you with us, Ms. Mimi Jett.
Thank you very much. It is my honor to be here. I appreciate the invitation and I look forward to the webinar.
Thank you. Now we welcome Professor Dr. Mavoothu D, a distinguished professor at the School of Management Studies, Cochin University of Science and Technology, India. Dr. Mavoothu has an illustrious career spanning 30 years in academic teaching. Dr. Mavoothu is a trained assessor for the National Assessment and Accreditation Council. His educational contributions were recognized with the prestigious Devang Mehta Educational Leadership Award in 2019. Additionally, he is a life member of the National HRD Network, underscoring his dedication to human resource development. We are privileged to have you with us today, sir. We're also excited to welcome Mr. Cory Brine, Executive Director of Partnerships and Growth at Qubits Learning. Cory Brine has almost 15 years of experience in the international education sector, holding senior management positions in both education publishing and edtech companies. During his career, he has successfully led impactful public-private partnerships in multiple countries. Mr. Brine's experience with sustainable education includes 9 years as regional manager for National Geographic Learning. Passionate about education technology and sustainability issues affecting young people, Mr. Brine remains a strong advocate for both. He will share how Qubits Learning is actively inspiring the youth to develop sustainable solutions for fostering inventive and collaborative efforts for a greener future, a vision that led to the creation of International Computing Olympiad. Through initiatives like ICO, Qubits Learning aims to empower young minds to tackle global challenges with technology-driven solutions. We are delighted to have you with us, Mr. Cory Brine.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm very excited.
Now let's return to the topic of our webinar today, climate change and artificial intelligence, driving sustainable solutions for the future. Before we begin, I would like to tell you that we will launch some polls throughout the webinar to get the audience opinion about climate action and AI. So please participate actively. We will also have a question and answer session towards the end of the webinar. If you have any questions for our panelists, please type them in the chat pod and we will address them. My first question is to Your Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Belhaif Al Nuaimi. Climate change is a global crisis demanding collaborative solutions. Sir, reflecting on your time as a climate change and environment minister, what role do you believe international cooperation and diplomacy play in addressing climate change? And how can we strengthen our global efforts with the promising policy solutions for accelerating our transition to a sustainable future?
Thank you very much for having me, and I believe that this is a very important issue, and whether at my time or before my time or after my time, climate change and the impact of climate change is very tedious today to almost everybody, except those who believe that there is no impact, and that there are very few, and I think they are excluded, whether they are countries or leaders or individuals. Today, we have managed during the last 15 years to really get this climate change impact into the mind of people. And also we managed to get it through the corporate issues. For this reason, it would be important really to have this through to our new generation, youth, and so forth. I am very pleased to see that a program targeting youth, targeting students, and particularly in the education. That is the first time I have been lecturing all over the world. And I have found very little discussion on how we get education awareness and have that awareness implemented and looked into by youth and particularly by students. During the last 15 years, or maybe a little bit more. That awareness has become very tedious. Everybody today is speaking about climate change. And I am really happy to see a webinar that is linking AI with climate change. If you allow me to take a few minutes just to introduce probably a little bit. I know that my colleague Mimi will be speaking about artificial intelligence, in which is probably more thorough. But I would just, if you allow me, to show how deep is the problem, whether with AI or with no AI. Today we have a tool that we call it artificial intelligence that we generated, created, implemented to probably help us. And we did great. The whole universe done so good. Sorry? But with this artificial intelligence, I think having it as I would actually look into the second part of the other part of the artificial intelligence. Today we know that artificial intelligence is actually participating by more than 3% in the total global greenhouse gas emissions. Whether we want it or we don't want it, that is what it is. And since the 2010 the systems or the artificial intelligence have participated 300,000, increased by 300,000 times. So artificial intelligence need to be looked at very carefully, because yes, it is a solution, but it's a delicate solution. A delicate in the sense that we can only use it for issues that could actually require artificial intelligence. For that reason, I think this discussion has to look into both sides of the issue, looking into climate change and how the greenhouse gases are impacting climate change, and how the world is changing, and how we managed during the last 15, 20 years to get this through corporate, and now corporate are actually competing for green solutions. But in the meanwhile, we are forgetting the fact that the tool that we use, and it is a great tool, but we use it probably now it is if in the 3%, believe me, that is 3% of global greenhouse gas emissions. That if we take United Arab Emirates, for example, United Arab Emirates contributes 4.6%. This 3% is about the contribution of almost all OPEC countries. So the artificial intelligence today have become also a participating issue on our fight against climate change. I could elaborate later on, but I know that you have other topic to discuss.
Thank you for the deep insight, sir. It is much appreciated. Now, Ms. Mimi Jett. Good evening, ma'am. Home is where foundational values take root, shaping how students perceive the world. How can education and curriculum design build on these early influences to foster deep, critical thinking about climate change? And additionally, madam, how can we empower students to become climate leaders, driving sustainable practices within their families and communities?
Thank you very much for that question. I appreciate that you're talking about foundational values, because to me, core values are the most important thing that any of us have. We rely on our core values for almost every decision we make throughout the day. So focusing on really the ethical considerations for students, I think, is critical. When students incorporate AI into their sustainability projects, several ethical considerations emerge. First is data ethics. Any AI solution is only as good as the data it's built upon. Students must ask, where does this data come from? Was it collected with consent? Does it fairly represent diverse populations and environments? An algorithm trained primarily on urban environmental data may fail catastrophically when applied to rural settings. Secondly, transparency and explainability. Can students explain how their AI models arrive at a specific recommendation for sustainability initiatives? Black box solutions that cannot be understood by the communities they aim to serve risk creating dependency rather than empowerment. And thirdly, accessibility and inclusivity. Does the AI solution work equally well for all communities? A sustainability solution that requires expensive technology or high-speed internet may inadvertently leave behind the very communities most vulnerable to environmental challenges. Students should document their ethical decision-making process as thoroughly as their technical development process, making it a central evaluation criterion in competitions such as you're speaking about. While AI offers tools for sustainability challenges, we have to guard against over-reliance. Critical thinking remains essential. AI can analyze vast data sets sets and identify patterns, but it cannot replace human judgment in determining which sustainability challenges deserve priority or how solutions should be implemented in specific cultural contexts. The connection to natural systems is critical. The most powerful sustainability solutions often emerge from deep conversation, observation, and connection with natural systems. We must ensure that students don't become so immersed in digital environments that they lose touch with the physical world that they're trying to protect. And finally, resilience considerations. Any technology-dependent solution creates new vulnerabilities. Students should be encouraged to design sustainability approaches that continue functioning during power outages or connectivity disruptions, especially important as climate instability increases. The most robust projects will thoughtfully integrate AI capabilities with low-tech, resilient approaches, recognizing that technology is a tool. It is not the complete solution. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for taking the time to explain that. It was very informative. Now, I'll ask Dr. Mavoothu, sir.
Yes, I'm available, Mr. Abhiraman. Good evening.
Sustainability challenges, sir. Sustainability challenges differ across communities and nations, requiring tailored approaches that address local priorities. Given your extensive discussions on these topics, we have a question for you, sir. How can we bridge sustainability disparities in socio-economic sphere through a multifaceted approach that integrates social equity, economic inclusion, and environmental justice? And additionally, sir, how can nations, regardless of their resources or vulnerabilities, both contribute to and benefit from sustainable practices?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Abhiraman. Just like social justice, we need climate justice, also. And just like social disparities, we have sustainability disparities, also. See, for example, one of the groups that worst affected in climate change and global warming is the women, children. Apart from women and children, we have a lot of other people categories. They are also affected by climate change and global warming. See, for example, you take the fishermen communities who are living in the coastal area. For them, the fishing is the livelihood. So they have been very much affected by this climate change and global warming. Then you take the minorities, you take the migrants, you take the displaced people, you take the refugees, you take the indigenous people like local tribals. So all these people have been disproportionately affected by global warming and climate and change. And actually, their contribution to climate change and global warming is very, very less. But in the case of the effect, they have been affected so much. And the countries, it is the developed countries, they have contributed more to the climate change and global warming. But when it comes to climate action, are they really contributing according to what they have contributed to the climate change and global warming? And there is always a disparity in terms of awareness, application of technology, and impact assessment. Normally, we don't see equity and fairness among these categories of countries. The people who have created climate change, they are not contributed. And many developed countries, they have promised so much actions for climate change mitigation and adaptation activities. What they have promised, we have not yet received. I think that is a very a serious concern. It's a high time that we have to create a new concept called climate ethics. So where all the people must be done equitable, justice, whether it's a fisherman or marginalized farmers or refugees or migrants or indigenous people. So I think the people, the marginalized people, like fishermen and other people, must be given empowerment, like social empowerment, financial empowerment. These categories also must be given, empowerment. So they have to become independent for climate resilience and climate, actually agility. I think these people have no awareness, and even if they have awareness, they do not know how to use the technology for mitigation and adaptation purposes. So we have to empower these people, so that they can easily, effortlessly mitigate and adapt to the what you call the climate change and global warming. Now, more than financial and physical resources, so I think the abstract resources must be made available to these people, so that they have understanding, awareness. Then they can think of application of technologies and the tools to safeguard themselves from the negative aspects of global warming and climate change. So I suggest that the climate ethics must be taken up as a very serious subject, and more ethical concepts, more ethical theories and framework must be incorporated and integrated into climate actions, whether it's a climate finance or whether it's climate infrastructure and other climate actions. I think the ethics must be taken into main components. And then today, just like in other fields, the climate change activities, the climate change finance also experiencing corruptions and other unethical activities. So the real beneficiaries are not really getting the benefits. See, for example, the workers who lost the job due to fossil fuel, now they have to be retrained to get jobs in renewable energy sector and things like that. So I think now we have to have a rights approach and a justice approach to all climate actions that will eventually reduce the gap among so many stakeholders in the efforts of mitigation and adaptation activities of climate change. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mavoothu. Your answer was very enlightening. Now let's have our first poll question. Attendees, please cast your vote for your choice. Now let's wait for the results. Yeah, you can see the results here. Interesting. Moving on. Dr. Abdullah, sir. Artificial intelligence. Sir, artificial intelligence is advancing rapidly, but its growth raises environmental concerns, including high energy consumption, water usage for cooling, and carbon emissions. To ensure sustainability, it is crucial to assess AI's ecological impact and explore mitigation strategies. Sir, let me pose this question to you. How will the growing demand for AI impact sustainability in the coming years? Additionally, how can we encourage carbon neutral AI practices and initiatives to mitigate these effects? How can we balance AI innovation and sustainability?
Thank you very much. I think this is, again, very important question. But if you just allow me to go back to what has been mentioned by Dr. Mavoothu, I think it's very alarming what he have indicated when it comes to the adaptation and mitigation and the financing. We've seen with all the COP that we've been going through, with all the delicate dealing with the financing, we have a problem. I agree. The nations that have created or initiated the global warming is pulling back, while the impact would hit all of us. It would not only impact the indigenous or one sector, or the fishermen, or the people who work on the wood, or people who work in their black coal. Everyone, whether it's a big nation, small job, big job, would actually be impacted by this global warming. The issue of having artificial intelligence helping us with that is very important, because with the artificial intelligence, we have that tool that could actually help us in that way. We can go forward. But meanwhile, artificial intelligence is also giving us some global warming issues, and we really need to look into the utilization of it. I have some figures that I have just shown that it is the 10% increase of AI. There's a potential we can maximum mitigate about 10% of it as time goes by. But I believe that the solution does not only lie on the artificial intelligence, and I don't think that artificial intelligence, if we take it by itself, would actually be the solution. It is participating in the solution, but it is not the solution, and it cannot be the solution because it participates also in global warming, and it adds the issue. If it is now we see it by 3%, and we anticipate that it would actually replace cement by the time we leave cement. Up to 6% we are heading with this participation if we continue with this utilization of high utilization of artificial intelligence. I would actually be suggesting something else, and that would actually be addressed tomorrow at the quantum conference in Dubai. I believe that if we are to bridge the impact of climate change, we really need to incorporate three technologies. In the one hand, we need to have the artificial intelligence introduced. In the second hand, we really need to look into the quantum computation, because without that quantum computation, you have very little to introduce. And thirdly, you really need to look into the nanotechnology. Today, as time goes by, yes, we can use artificial intelligence. However, by the time there is a study made by an American consultant that shows that in the next 50 years, three things that we will lose. We would actually lose oil, we would lose gas, and we'd also lose renewable minerals. So we'd end up having another 50 years of going back to coal if we continue doing the same. So if we can engage artificial intelligence as a tool, and quantum as a computation, and nanotechnology as mimicking the ability of minerals and subject matters, then we can actually look into possible solution for what we have. We know today that global warming is almost twice as much as pre-industrial time. We know as well that we are introducing gases that we have fought for a long time. 20 years ago, we were actually scared of having our ozone being impacted. Today, we are actually increasing the nitrous oxide in the atmosphere. And we know that nitrous oxide is not only is a greenhouse gas, but it is also an ozone issue. So we really need to look into three technologies together. Not one of them is a solution. I know that solution, if we continue using the artificial intelligence, we would actually end up doing exactly the same thing that we are doing today when we are looking into introducing green hydrogen. So the technology is giving us the tools, but we are not really smart enough to utilize it. So with the nanotechnology, we can actually mimic minerals. We can actually look into new minerals and probably provide better solutions. And also the same thing goes for the quantum physics, because with that we can go forward. Without it, I'm afraid that we are adding a chaos scenario for our youth, not only that we have seen today, where the ocean temperature is increased, ice is melting. We see it today. Forests are in fire. It is actually a global warming signs. Do we receive it? I don't know. But we are not ready for it, whether we receive it or we don't. The whole world is not ready for it because we have not equipped ourselves with the technology that man has made so far. We are either concentrating on one or leaving the others. That is very important. If we want to make artificial intelligence as a part of the solution, we really need to bridge the gap between artificial intelligence, nanotechnology, and quantum physics.
Thank you, His Excellency, for the answer. Now the next question is for Miss Mimi Jett. Ma'am, our children's future depends on a healthy planet, making climate education essential. As AI rapidly transforms our world, equipping students with the right knowledge and skills, it's very crucial. How can we seamlessly integrate climate change education and AI tools into schools? Additionally, madam, how can we also empower young minds to leverage AI in reversing environmental decline?
Thank you for that question. I think the number one focus should be on teacher preparedness. It's really important for these students to succeed. The educators must be properly equipped. Beginning with technical literacy, teachers need sufficient understanding of AI capabilities and limitations to guide the students effectively. This doesn't mean every teacher needs to become a programmer, but they should understand the core concepts, like the difference between supervised and unsupervised learning, or the significance of training data that's used with the AI. Interdisciplinary facilitation is also important. The most innovative sustainability solutions emerge at the intersection of disciplines. So teachers must be prepared to facilitate collaboration between students with expertise in environmental science, computer science, design thinking, and social systems. And finally, ethical frameworks. Educators need structured approaches for helping students navigate ethical dilemmas. This includes familiarity with concepts like algorithmic bias, appropriate governance models for AI systems, and frameworks for balancing competing values. Investing in teacher development is not optional. It's fundamental to ensuring these competitions produce solutions that are both technically sound and ethically implemented. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Now, let's take up questions from the audience. So we have one question that is for Dr. Mavoothu. We also have this poll right now on AI and the future of recycling. Attendees, kindly participate. Let's see the results now. Interesting. Okay.
May I say something to that just very briefly?
Yeah.
The,
Yes.
the lack of awareness for people understanding recycling. I'm from a town called Portland, Oregon, and in our town, recycling is mandatory. You don't have a choice. All of the compostable garbage has to be separated, and that is taken to a landfill. But you cannot put any paper, plastic, or glass in those containers. You must put the recycling in the recycling containers. And then the third option is the yard waste and all of the other compostables, and those go with the food waste. So it helped create awareness. This has been mandated in Portland now for more than 15 years, and we have greatly reduced what we put into landfills and what we put into the ocean. Thank you.
Thank you for addressing that, ma'am, for very effectively. Very appreciated, ma'am. Now the next question is to Dr. Mavoothu. Sir, artificial intelligence presents both immense potential and understandable anxieties. While AI's capabilities are exciting, there is this recurring idea of an AI takeover. That's a very common concern. So in that sphere, sir, how can we ensure AI remains aligned with human values and goals rather than evolving in ways that may be harmful or uncontrollable? Do you believe AI can surpass human intelligence and decision-making capabilities? And if so, how could that impact our society?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very interesting question. But for this, I cannot give any very absolute answer. But my answer will be very, relative and debatable. See, after all, artificial intelligence is nothing but simulation of human intelligence on machines with the help of, say, program, algorithm, and data. And these machines, that is, this artificial intelligence, cannot be better than the human beings, because basically these artificial intelligence are trained based on our environmental, societal, and other data. It is basically data driven, and they cannot be better than the human beings. And one great thing and that this artificial intelligence is missing is they lack critical thinking. Recently, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, the Reliance Group chairman, he made a remark that artificial intelligence can give informations, data, and knowledge, but they cannot give a critical view or critical thinking, especially on critical matters. So Mr. Mukesh Ambani was requesting all the youth in India, okay, you use artificial intelligence only for collecting informations, gaining knowledge, but the job of critical thinking must be left to the human beings. I think that's a very, very important observations. And even the famous physicist Stephen Hawking, and he told once that artificial intelligence can never surpass human beings, because the human mind, the human knowledge, the human critical thinking is unlimited, infinite. I think from time to time it has been improved. So in this case also, even when you use artificial intelligence for mitigation and adaptation purposes of climate change and global warming, I think the very critical knowledge, the critical, thinking must come from human beings, not from the machines. I think as Miss Mimi Jett was telling, and also His Excellency Dr. Abdullah was telling, I think the human intelligence cannot be, taken by the machines. I think our knowledge is the ultimate, and our critical thinking is the ultimate. So let us not leave the job of critical thinking to artificial intelligence. I think that is our responsibility. Let us not be mediocre in handling, global warming mitigation and adaptation activities entirely to technology, and we have to play a very critical role in that. See, for example, we had Industry 4.0. So where everything we try to automate. Automation was the focus of Industry 4.0, and the human beings were given backseat driving. But what happened? Now we have Industry 5.0, and the Industry 5.0, the focus is on balancing between the human beings and the machines, because now in Industry 5.0 we have realized that human beings cannot be replaced by what you call the so-called machines. So I think in the case of artificial intelligence, use of artificial intelligence in climate change mitigation and adaptation activities, I think we must have a strong belief that only human beings, we have an edge over artificial intelligence. Now, otherwise, again, we'll have a problem. Maybe one area the machines, the artificial intelligence can help in climate change.
Dr. Mavoothu, Excellency,
yes,
would
sir.
like. Okay.
Yes, sir.
If you just allow me, sir,
please,
to intervene here, I believe the two issues are linked together. What Ms. Mimi have indicated on qualifying teachers, if you just allow me to add something that is very essential. Now, we always assume that man is smarter than the machine. That is our assumption. But is it the case? Today, the machine has taken the most complicated jobs that we do. And we are actually redundant. If you ask your students in college a question, he would go and Google it and find ChatGPT to write an answer for him. Today, we have a problem in two. One, that we are not integrating sustainability goals in our curriculum. This is for Ms. Mimi's. Unfortunately, we are not. Most of our kids are trying to find solutions, and they find the solutions only in AI. They don't find it in their teachers, not even in their curriculums. Now, qualifying the teachers is very essential. But in the other hand, really looking into having that sustainability included within our curriculum is very essential. The second, that we have a problem with AI. Most of the big companies have no transparency, none whatsoever, and no transparency nor measurement. Also, we as human, that we think that we are superseding the machine. We are not even balancing benefits and costs. We see everything today in black and white. We don't balance the benefit of AI and how much AI is costing us. We don't see how much is the quantum physics is costing us and whether there is benefit for it. So I think in a decade time, our knowledge would actually be surrounded by artificial intelligence knowledge that sometimes would lead us to disasters, because we could not manage to qualify our kids, our youth, our curriculum to really depend on their brain. And we did not, as Ms. Mimi said, we did not indeed qualify our instructors, educators to really be good enough, in particularly when it comes into global warming. I was this morning in a speech in a university here this morning, and I have asked students at the universities about sustainability goals, and there are about 120, 130 students. They could not answer that. Maybe one of them knew it. So they don't even know the goals of our sustainabilities. It is not their mistake. It is us as educators. We failed really to address a very important issue. Is the issue of the era. People don't know. They think that, okay, only the temperature will rise and then AC will take care of it. So AC will not take care of it. So it's very important to include that sustainability goals in our curriculum, and also educate not only our educators. We really need to educate our youth that this is the problem that we would be facing tomorrow, and you have to deal with it. I'm very sorry to intervene, but I felt that it is very important to look into the transparency. We don't have it today. We don't know these big companies that standardize methods for measuring the carbon footprint of AI. There is no standard for it. No one knows. No one knows. So if you don't know how to measure it, you don't expect big companies to tell you that this is the amount. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, that is a great observation, Your Excellency. Thank you for your intervention.
Thank you, His Excellency, and thank you, Dr. Mavoothu. Now we'll have one more Paul, AI for Inclusive Education. Attendees, please choose your respective answers and let's wait for the results. Now let's wait for the results. Interesting, interesting. Interesting. So moving on, as we have explored today, AI's impact on sustainability and education is profound, offering both challenges and opportunities. Addressing these issues requires not just policies and innovations, but also the active involvement of young minds who will drive the future of AI and sustainability. This is where the International Computing Olympiad, ICO, comes in. Now, let me reintroduce Mr. Cory Brine, Executive Director of Partnerships and Growth at Qubits Learning, once again to shed light on this initiative.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And excellent panel discussion and insight. I think there's a lot of challenges here. We're aware of this, and in a lot of ways, we're behind the curve. I think, as His Excellency pointed out, there's a lot to be done. I'm remaining optimistic as always. I believe in engineers, I believe in students, and I believe in our future. And so, at Qubits Learning, we're actually trying to empower students to be comprehensive and future ready through education. We're focused specifically on computer science curriculum, and we provide a robust platform and educational resources that support, as Mimi was pointing out, supporting educators to help them as they're in their teaching and learning environments, as well as to help students and empower them to become future engineers and problem solvers. And as a part of our commitment to sustainability and environmental responsibility, we've launched this initiative with the International Computing Olympiad. This is a platform that will merge technology, innovation, and real-world problem solving. And every year, we will center our problem-solving efforts around one key SDG, one key sustainable development goal. This year, it's SDG 13, which is climate action. We'll be emphasizing the need, urgent need, as we've reemphasized here today, to combat climate change and to drive awareness at all levels in education. The use of frontier technology, these are tools. AI is the latest, and this is going to be our tool to try to solve these problems and issues with sustainability. And we've built a competition with that in mind, so that each competition track will be is designed to challenge the participants to develop solutions around these climate-related issues. That goes everything from building awareness, arranging, working with others for awareness campaigns, gathering data and analysis, and then also to work towards tools that can help empower solutions based on that awareness, that analysis, and then tackling those real-world environmental challenges. So students are not just competing in the ICO; they are becoming change makers. They are becoming future leaders in sustainability, and we're very proud of this initiative. And thank you all for joining us here today. These discussions have highlighted, the importance of empowering the youth in this way, empowering the youth with those skills and with knowledge, along with tools that can help them to take meaningful action. I guess I'll just close with a couple points. One is a heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed panelists. Thank you very much to Your Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Belhaif Al Nuaimi. Thank you to Ms. Mimi Jett and to Dr. Mavoothu. Your valuable insights and expertise is invaluable for us. We very much appreciate you taking the time to join us today and to share your insights with us. But as I said, this is just the beginning. We're going to have many more discussions we will be hosting. We'll have other initiatives and events. We'll continue to empower young minds in this journey towards innovation and sustainability. With that in mind, there is a surprise announcement. The participants today are going to receive an additional discount coupon via email. So that will be coming through today. It's an additional 10% discount for you. And we're also going to have a random drawing for 3 lucky winners to get to have a free registration. So everything will be waived for those lucky 3. So be watching your inbox, because those will come to you in your email inbox. I don't know the answers yet, so don't ask me. I don't know who's been selected yet. We'll be finding out together. So anyway, thank you, everyone. We're excited to continue this journey together, inspiring the next generation, and we look forward to a greener and a more sustainable future for all.
Thank you, Cory. And now we'll take up the questions from the audience. First question is for Ms. Mimi Jett. Ma'am, the question from the audience is that how can artificial intelligence be integrated into educational curricula to enhance awareness of climate change? And what are the best practices for teaching students in this field?
Thank you for that question. And I want to go back to what Dr. Mavoothu said about critical thinking. Critical thinking is so important. This is a human capability. It could be called wisdom. And we all know that the difference between knowledge and wisdom is experience. It's the embodiment of the knowledge. So it's important that the students have the correct mindsets. The right mindset is just as important as technical skills. They are going to become creators, not just consumers. So they need to approach AI not just as users of existing tools, but as critical creators who can shape how these technologies evolve to address sustainability changes. Also, long-term thinking. Sustainability requires considering impacts across generations. Students need to be encouraged to design solutions that consider maintenance, evolution, and eventual recycling or biodegradation of their technologies. Community-centered design is huge. The most successful projects will emerge when students prioritize deep engagement with the communities that their solutions aim to serve, ensuring these communities have meaningful input throughout the development process. And then finally, embracing iterations. Students need to understand that their first solutions will be imperfect and that continuous feedback, refinement of the essential parts are of both environmental stewardship and technology development. These mindsets transform the students from just creating mere technical showcases into genuine learning journeys that prepare the students for the complex sustainability challenges ahead.
Thank you, madam, once again. Thank you for the insight. Now, the next audience question is for Dr. Mavoothu. Sir, the question is, AI experts, climate scientists, policymakers, and environmentalists must work together, but communication gaps often exist. Do you think this observation is correct? How can we fill this gap in communication?
I think the communication gap is a reality. But to what extent there is a communication gap, I think we need more research and more, work on that. But as Madam Mimi Jett was telling, we need interdisciplinary approach to reduce that gap. The gap may be at awareness level. The gap may be at application level. The gap may be at assessment level. So we have to understand at which level there is more gap. I think in the awareness level, the gap is not much, and even the application level, there may not be much gap. But the assessment, what's really happening, and the tools that we use now, how it has impacted the environment, the people, the communities. I think that aspect we need more. We need more, interdisciplinary approach, interdisciplinary conferences, interdisciplinary courses, partnership between institutions at the local level, national level, international levels. I think if that happens to a great extent, we can reduce the gap in the understanding. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mavoothu. Now the next audience question is to His Highness Dr. Abdullah Belhaif Al Nuaimi. Sir, the question we received is that what ethical considerations should be kept in mind when using AI for environmental sustainability?
This is one of the most challenging questions, really, I have ever gone through. Actually, we have to go back to today. We have a protocol by which sustainability is addressed, and this protocol is actually non-binding. It is as all Paris Agreement itself is a non-binding protocol. So any country can get in, and if they feel that they are not comfortable, they can go back. And if they did not achieve their NDCs, they can also say thank you very much. We can go back. So I think the most ethical thing, now we have managed to get all countries in. At some point prior to the 2015, we had a problem with India, we had a problem with China, where they assumed that they cannot get in. That's prior to the Paris Agreement. Today, we've seen particularly these two countries, are the most careful when it comes to contributing to green technology, and they are actually doing great so far. So what we really need to be more ethical, to assume that all world are the same. Small nations, big nations, small countries, big countries. And we introduce, again, a protocol that is legally binding. Everyone to really reduce that percentage of their emissions. And once we do that, then we can actually look into the future. If the European Union would reduce that much, Latin America would reduce that much, name them, then we would know how to really plan for the future. And we'd know, say, by the year 2050, we will be having that much of impact. We have reached a stage, I am very sorry to say that, we have reached a stage where we know very little about the climate impact because our educators gave us the wrong directions. Even sometimes politicians gave us the wrong directions. I was asked a few days ago that during COVID time, the global warming was reduced by that number, or that percentage. That ignorance, we have today in the communities, and we have it among educators. We have it among people who are educated as well. What we face today is not the impact of the last 10 years or 20 years. The problem we face today is the industrial era, when Europe have actually participated the most in global warming. So the best ethical solution is to get back into United Nations and come up with a solution that is binding everyone, big nations, small nations, individuals, as well as educators. Thank you.
Thank you very much, His Excellency. Now we have an audience question for Cory. How does Qubits Learning ensure that projects developed through ICO have a real-world impact? How can young minds make artificial intelligence models that can help mitigate climate change?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Education in general plays a vital role in this, of course, and we're doing our part as educators and being part of the serving education industry. There's just in building awareness alone. So this project, it does two things. I should say three, essentially: awareness, analyzing data, and also then looking for solutions, trying to engineer solutions. And so the ICO is, we're geared around, you could say, those three primary goals, what we want students to walk away with. Just awareness alone, we're behind. I think there was a study, it's a little old, it's probably a year and a half old or maybe 2 years maximum, that was done. It was a global study. I think it was by I think it was paid for by the UN, but this essentially they were assessing just carbon literacy. So one of the fundamentals of climate education, one of the pillars. If you don't understand just basic carbon literacy, then you can have there'll be a lot of misinformation you're subjected to that can hinder your understanding of what to do, climate action, and the need for sustainability goals, etc. In that study, I think only less than 8% of students, I think it was 7.8, 7.9 students, demonstrated a high awareness of carbon literacy. So we're tackling this need. One is educating students through this program. Students at a lower level are a little bit more focused on awareness. Students at the youngest track, the 6 to 11 age group, using tools like Scratch, building to build awareness. The next track of the ICO, the 11 to 14 age group, they're getting more into the data analysis, and then based on data analysis, recommending alternatives, more sustainable alternatives. And this will be using Python and web technologies, but Python alone is probably the most popular coding platform, most coding language right now. So that should have a real impact. And in the highest track for students aged 14 to 19, analyzing the impact of climate change on natural resources, and again making suggestions. So this is also a mix of data analysis and then problem solving. And then all the students in all age groups, anyone can participate in the general AI challenge, and that's how to address these environmental challenges. So a lot to be done. Practically speaking, we have something for everyone where everyone can play their part and help to help to make a difference.
Thank you, Cory. Thank you for the answer. Now we'll take one last question from the audience, and this is to Ms. Mimi Jett. The question is: as you talked about AI models can act as a black box, should companies be legally required to make AI models explainable when used for sustainable efforts?
Oh gosh. Yes, there should be transparency. There must be transparency in what the model is and where the learning came from. Definitely echoing what His Excellency said about transparency in corporations. I'd like to actually also talk about what Cory just said, because Cory showed us exactly what the different level students are going to be doing, age level students are going to be doing. But I think what you all are really doing here, which is the most impactful of all, is that you're cultivating problem solvers who will navigate the more complex challenges. By getting students involved, especially at grade school and middle school levels, this is where the spark happens. And if you can get them thinking and acting and being aware and working on these problems at that age, this is how it's going to really have an impact.
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Mimi Jett. We would like to take more questions, but we are, getting short of time. So anyways, let's come to the next part. I thank the audience for your active participation and insightful questions. I apologize for not taking all the questions due to the lack of time. Before we close, here's a quick recap of today's discussion. The webinar highlighted the vital role of AI in climate action, balancing innovation with sustainability. While AI poses challenges, its responsible use can drive economic growth and environmental stewardship. Through technology and collective action, we can create a healthier, more equitable future. Now, we have the names for our 3 lucky winners today. They are Ms. Poonam Chopra, Ms. Kajal Veen, Ms. Hajra Anwar. Congratulations, you all. You get 1 free registration each for the ICO 2025. Please check your inbox for more details. Now, to the last section. As we conclude, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to our panelists for sharing their time and knowledge with us today. Your Excellency, Dr. Abdullah Belhaif Al Nuaimi, Ms. Mimi Jett, and Dr. Mavoothu, we at Qubits Learning can't thank you enough for your thoughtful answers and engaging dialogue. Thank you for making this webinar so informative and thought-provoking. A special thank you to Mr. Cory Brine for sharing valuable insights about Qubits Learning's initiative, the International Computing Olympiad, and the role it plays in changing the landscape of technology-driven sustainability. We also thank the audience for your active participation. We hope you found the webinar informative and valuable. We at Qubits Learning would also like to sincerely thank our partners, Athena Education UAE, for their support in ICO. Your collaboration has been essential to our success. This is your host, Abhiraman, signing off. Thank you and have a nice day.